the road in the darkness. The wind howled as if it wanted to tear the space apart. The wheels slid on the wet road. The sound of rubber scraping against asphalt screeched, so sharp it made goosebumps rise all over the body. Jack Miller gripped the steering wheel tightly, his arms stiff, veins bulging on his skin as if about to burst. The truck, weighing nearly 40 tons, was plunging downhill on a desolate mountain pass. The night was pitch dark. The headlights pierced into the murky void, illuminating only a flickering stretch of road ahead. Everything was happening too fast. Jack screamed, his voice hoarse. No, no way, brakes! Damn it, the brakes are gone. He stomped hard on the brake pedal, his foot pressing with all its strength, but felt only a hopeless emptiness. The brakes didn't catch. The pedal sank down as if mocking the fear in his heart. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, dripping into his eyes, stinging. He blinked continuously, but nothing changed. The speed kept rising, more and more out of control. The cargo in the back crashed and banged, each impact echoing like rolling thunder. Every blow was a hammer strike to Jack's heart. The winding mountain road was flanked by sheer cliffs and bottomless abysses. The sky was dark gray, clouds pressing down like a massive burial shroud. Just one slip of the wheel, just one more sharp curve, and it would all be over. Hundreds of fragmented thoughts flashed in Jack's mind. The image of his wife, her gaunt face worn by worries, the clear laughter of his 8-year-old son, and the small house in the suburbs of Texas that he had promised to fix since last summer. All of it rushed back in an instant, like the reel of his final moments. Oh God, please save me. Please save me. The roar of the engine was suddenly choked off. Jack couldn't hear anything anymore. No wheels, no crashing cargo. A terrifying silence enveloped him. The world seemed frozen, as if time had stopped. He realized his body felt weightless. His hands had no sensation. The steering wheel slipped beyond his reach, yet he wasn't panicking. Instead, a strange feeling came, calm, surrender. Jack opened his eyes wide and was horrified to see in front of him, himself. He saw another Jack Miller, still sitting in the driver's seat, eyes bulging, body tense, sweat pouring like rain, mouth wide open, as if screaming something, but no sound came out. Is that me? He tried to step forward, but his feet didn't touch the ground. He only drifted, floating in an invisible space, like a wisp of smoke. The cabin suddenly felt foreign. Every detail, the steering wheel, the dashboard, the cracked windshield, blurred, leaving only a flood of white light. In a moment, Jack no longer felt weight, no longer breath, no longer pain. Everything dissolved. A small voice echoed from somewhere, distant but clear. Jack, has your time come already? He startled, looking everywhere, but saw no one. Only darkness and light intertwined, opening into an endless tunnel. Jack tried to scream, but no sound emerged. Only fear gnawed at him. Is this death? Am I already dead? The light flared brighter, so blinding Jack had to shut his eyes tight. But the moment he did, his son's image appeared vividly. The boy stood on the porch, waving, calling, "Dad, don't leave me." A sharp pain ripped through Jack's chest. He wanted to struggle back into his body, to steer the truck to safety, to live and return, to hold his son. But the harder he tried, the more he felt himself being pulled farther and farther away. Meanwhile, the truck still thundered on, the speedometer needles shaking wildly. The road ahead twisted, and a sharp curve was waiting. The whole world seemed to fall into silence before collapse. Jack Miller was born and raised in a small town in Texas. His life was nothing too extraordinary, yet it carried the burdens only long-haul truckers could truly understand. At 45, he had a large build with broad shoulders, suntanned skin, and calloused hands, after nearly 20 years of gripping the steering wheel. He often joked with friends that he had driven so much, he sometimes forgot what it felt like to take a long walk. Jack's small house sat in the suburbs, its roof tiles weathered, the front lawn often overgrown since he was away so often. His wife, Linda, had grown used to his long absences. Sometimes she acted tough, but other times she sighed when she looked at the empty seat at the dinner table. Their son, Ben, only 8 years old, would cling to his father every time he came home. Jack loved his boy so much that no matter how tired he was after a trip, he always tried to tell him a story before bed. One autumn morning, as pale golden sunlight stretched across the porch, Linda stood at the door watching Jack carry his familiar tool bag to the truck. She called out, "Take care of yourself, okay? Don't drive too late." Jack turned back, smiling, a bit forced but still warm. "I know. This trip should take about a week. I'll be home in time for Ben's birthday." Ben ran out of the house, throwing his arms around his father's legs. "Promise, Dad, you'll be home for my birthday." Jack bent down, placing his rough hand on his son's soft hair. His voice choked. "I promise." That promise clung to Jack's mind throughout the journey. Life as a long-haul driver was never easy. He often drove through the night along desolate roads with only the sound of the engine for company. There were nights he nearly nodded off, his eyelids heavy with exhaustion. Sometimes he wondered how much longer he could keep doing this job. During rare breaks at rest stops, Jack usually sat alone, sipping bitter coffee while watching other drivers chat animatedly. He wasn't the type to open up easily. Instead, he would jot down a few short lines in the old notebook he carried. Day 3, it rained, missing home more. Linda sometimes called, her voice trembling as she asked, "When will you be home?" Jack would reply with the same familiar line. "Just a few more days." But both of them knew. A few more days sometimes stretched into weeks. Financial pressure weighed heavily on Jack's shoulders. This job provided steadier income than other options, and he wanted Ben to have a better future. Still, he often blamed himself for leaving his wife and son without a man's presence at home. One afternoon, when Jack stopped in a small town, he received a video call from Ben. His son's bright face on the phone screen made Jack smile unconsciously. "Dad, I got a perfect score in math today." Jack clapped his hands, even though he was alone in the cab. "That's great, son. I'm proud of you." Ben cheered, his eyes sparkling. "Then when you come back, can you buy me a model car like last time?" Jack laughed, then nodded. "I promise." Yet deep inside, unease stirred. He didn't know why. Maybe it was because of the strange dreams he'd been having lately. Dreams where he was plunging down a dark road, no brakes, no way out. He often woke in the night, heart pounding, breath ragged. Once, when he told Linda about it, she only laughed and reassured him, "It's probably just because you drive too much. Don't worry." But the worry didn't fade. It lingered, like a vague premonition. The fateful day began like any other. Jack took an important delivery across state lines. The sky was gloomy, heavy clouds rolling in from the horizon. He set out at dusk, determined to drive through the night to stay on schedule. The fuel tank was full, the truck bed packed, and on the dashboard, taped with worn-out adhesive, was the photo of his small family, a guiding light for his journey. Jack sat alone in the cab, his hands gripping the wheel. The road stretched ahead, silent and dim. He had no idea that in just a few hours, his life would turn onto a different path, where death and life would be separated by only a single breath. Night had fallen, and the mountain pass was cloaked in cold mist. The truck's headlights cut into the darkness, casting flickering beams on the sheer cliffs on both sides. Jack had been driving for over 10 hours. His eyes were heavy, aching behind the windshield fogged with condensation. He took another sip of stale coffee, hoping the bitter taste would sharpen his senses. The clock showed nearly 2 in the morning, the deadly hour when the human body was most vulnerable. Jack slapped his own cheek lightly, fighting to keep his mind from drifting into drowsiness. He turned on the radio. A country song played softly, but it couldn't chase away the overwhelming dread of the night. The steep slope came into view. A glowing red warning sign read, "Dangerous slope. Check your brakes." Jack frowned, instinctively pressing the brake pedal. At first, the truck jerked slightly, then nothing. The pedal sank down, lifeless. "Damn it!" Jack shouted, his heart clenching. He yanked the handbrake. A screech of metal shrieked horribly, then fell silent. The truck kept hurtling forward, faster and faster. Tires skidded, rubber screeched, the acrid stench of burning filled his nose. Cold wind blasted through the cracks of the cab. The engine roared madly. The cargo in the back shook violently, every jolt like it would rip the container apart. Jack clenched his teeth, hands gripping the steering wheel tight, sweat streaming down his temples. "Stay calm, Jack. You still have Ben. You still have Linda. Stay calm." He searched desperately for a way out, but cliffs loomed on one side, the abyss on the other. Ahead, the winding road curved sharply, like a scythe of death waiting for him. In a flash, his son's image filled. His mind, that pure smile echoing, "Dad, be home for my birthday." A deafening bang erupted. The right front tire exploded. The truck swerved violently. Jack's head slammed into the steering wheel. His vision spun, blurring. Then, silence. He felt his body plummeting into emptiness. Sound vanished. Only the pounding of his heartbeat in his ears, slowing. Suddenly, Jack floated upward. He opened his eyes, and the sight before him paralyzed him. He was staring at his own body, still slumped in the driver's seat, gripping the wheel, face twisted in terror. He tried to scream, but no sound came. His mouth opened, releasing only emptiness. The cabin around him blurred, replaced by a radiant white light. It wasn't headlights nor moonlight. It was pure, warm, yet blinding enough to make Jack squeeze his eyes shut. When he opened them again, he was hovering above, seeing the whole scene. The massive truck barreling crazily down the pass, sparks shooting from the tires, the frame rattling violently. In the distance, he saw the faint lights of smaller cars below, moving calmly, unaware of the impending disaster. Jack longed to return to his body, to seize the wheel, but every attempt was like trying to grasp smoke. He had no weight, no breath. A voice echoed gently in his mind, distant yet soothing. "Jack, don't be afraid." He spun around, but no one was there. Only the endless dark road stretching below and the tunnel of light opening ahead. His heart was torn between panic and an irresistible pull. His senses began to change. He no longer heard the screaming brakes, but gentle whispers, soft as a lullaby. He no longer smelled burning rubber, but a faint fragrance, like fresh grass after rain. He no longer felt cold metal beneath his hands, only a warm breeze embracing his body. Jack drifted, drawn into the glowing light. But at that moment, he heard a cry, a child's cry echoing from far away. "Dad! Dad!" Jack's heart clenched. He thrashed, struggling to break free from the light's pull. He wanted to return, to cling to his body, to steer the truck, to live, to go home. But the force of the light was nearly irresistible. Jack screamed in desperation, not knowing if anyone could hear. "No, I'm not ready. I still have a family. I still have promises." His cry echoed in the void, then faded into the vast brightness. And in that moment, between life and death, Jack knew he had stepped onto another journey. One reason could not explain, a journey only those who touched the edge of mortality could understand. Jack was swept into the stream of white light, as if swimming in a weightless ocean. No more roaring engine, no more acrid stench of burning rubber, no more suffocating fear inside the truck's cabin. Everything dissolved, leaving only an immense silence, strangely warm and comforting. He looked down, seeing the mountain pass, like a thin thread, his truck nothing more than a tiny glowing speck in the darkness. Yet instead of chaos, his eyes now beheld another scene, a vast green field stretching to the horizon. The sky was crystal blue, cool breezes drifted by, carrying the sweet scent of meadows. "Am I already dead?" Jack whispered, though the sound rang clear and bright inside his head. A figure appeared in the distance, so familiar that Jack's heart clenched. A middle-aged man in a checkered shirt, gentle blue eyes Jack had remembered for over 20 years. It was his father. "Jack, my son." His voice echoed, both near and far, making Jack tremble. "Dad, no, you've been gone for years." Jack dropped to his knees, tears flowing hot down a face that no longer had a true body. His father stepped closer, not holding his hand, but sending Jack a strange warmth. "I know you're tired. I know the long nights you fought alone on the road, the burdens pressing on your shoulders. You've sacrificed so much." Jack sobbed like a child. "Dad, I don't want to leave Ben. I don't want Linda to be alone. I still have so much left undone. His father looked at him tenderly, light radiating from him across the field. My son, this is a place of peace. If you stay, there will be no more pain, no more loneliness. But you must choose. Jack looked up, confused. Then he noticed behind his father, dozens of other figures appeared, relatives who had passed, even his grandmother, who used to hold him as a child. All were smiling, eyes full of love. In that moment, Jack's heart nearly melted. A sweet peace spread through him. He felt as if just one step would let him remain forever in his family's embrace. But a voice called out, pleading and frail. Dad, Dad, don't leave me. Jack spun around. Far off, at the horizon's edge, he saw a faint image of Ben, his little boy. Small hands reaching toward him, tearful eyes shining red. Ben, Jack cried, his heart squeezed painfully. His father placed a hand on Jack's shoulder, gaze gentle yet firm. You must choose, Jack. Stay with us, or return to the life full of struggles, where people still need you. Jack trembled, tears streaming. He looked at Ben, then at his father. The light around him quivered violently, as if awaiting his final decision. In his mind, familiar sounds returned. Linda's laughter, Ben's footsteps running in the yard, that clear cry of, Dad, each time he came home. All of it rushed back, stronger than any other call. Jack clenched his fists, shouting with desperation, but also fierce resolve. I'm sorry, Dad. I have to go back. Ben needs me. Linda needs me. I'm not done yet. At once, the light around him shuddered. The beloved figures faded, his father's smile shining bright until the very last moment. I'm proud of you, Jack. Live fully once more. Those words vanished with his father's image. Jack felt his body yanked by an unseen force. The radiant green field blurred away, replaced by thick darkness. Then a blinding flash like lightning struck through him. He fell. Free fall. His heart thundered, his breath caught, and then beep, beep, beep. That familiar sound returned, not from heaven, but from a heart monitor in the world of the living. Jack jolted. He knew. He was coming back. Beep, beep, beep. That steady sound echoed, like hammer blows against Jack's chest. He opened his eyes in a daze, the cold white fluorescent light glaring down on him. No more green fields, no more his father's voice, only the pungent smell of disinfectant, the hurried footsteps of doctors, and a hand clutching his. Jack. Oh God, Jack, Linda sobbed, her eyes red, her face pale from sleepless nights. Jack's lips moved faintly, his voice raspy like a passing breeze. Linda, where's Ben? Linda burst into tears, placing her trembling hand on his chest. He's at home with Grandma. He prayed for you the whole time. Jack, I thought I'd lost you. Jack wanted to wipe away her tears, but his body was too weak. All he could do was smile, eyes glistening. I saw Dad. I was in that place, but I came back. For you, for Ben. Doctors rushed to check his heartbeat, his blood pressure, all the monitors beeping rapidly. A nurse bent down, voice urgent but gentle. You're very lucky, Mr. Jack. We almost lost you, but you fought your way back. Jack closed his eyes, letting the tears fall. In that moment, he felt it so clearly. Life is the most fragile, yet the most precious gift of all. In the weeks that followed, Jack slowly recovered. His physical wounds were not as daunting as the shock to his soul. At night, he often woke suddenly, recalling the green field and his father's smile. But instead of torment, he felt gratitude. Ben hugged him every time he came home, pressing his small cheek against Jack's chest, as if afraid to lose him again. Promise me, Dad, you won't be gone for so long anymore. Jack's throat tightened. He placed a hand on his son's head. I promise. I'll be here with you. I won't miss another moment. Linda watched them, her eyes wet but warm. She held Jack's hand, her once frail fingers now warm again. I don't need much money. I don't need you to carry everything alone. I just need you, alive. Jack squeezed her hand tightly, as if carving his vow into his very flesh. From then on, Jack changed completely. He no longer threw himself into weeks-long hauls. He switched to city work, less money, but enough for the family. Every afternoon, he took Ben outside, listening to his son's bright laughter. Every night, he cooked simple but warm meals with Linda. In his mind, the memory of his father and the place of light remained vivid. Sometimes, he looked up at the night sky and whispered, "Dad, I understand now. Life is not just to exist, but to love." Jack shared his story with friends, with fellow drivers. Many shed tears as they listened. He did not speak with the tone of a man who had narrowly escaped death, but with the voice of one who had been born a second time. "You know, I've seen what's on the other side. But I came back, not to live longer, but to live better. Don't wait until you lose everything to realize. Family is the true road." One evening, as Jack tucked Ben into bed, the boy whispered, "Dad, I dreamed about Grandpa. He said you were very brave, that he's proud of you." Jack froze, tears welling as he pulled his son close. He knew then that his near-death journey was not just an accident, but a sacred gift, a reminder that love is always the reason to return. And in Jack's heart, that light still burned, not as the scythe of death, but as the torch to guide the rest of his life. If Jack's story has touched your heart, leave a comment and share your thoughts. Have you ever heard of or experienced something so profound that it changed the way you see life? Don't forget to hit follow so you won't miss more near-death stories, spiritual journeys, and soul-stirring moments. Let's build a community that shares and spreads love together.